And here we are. Do do do. We need a theme music. I think that should be your next job. Okay. Is to get us a theme music, or at least some tune that we can sing. We can go do 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 do. Your life is about to change.
I could learn the ukulele or something.
Oh, we've got you one. We could do that. All right, cool. So happy Thursday. This is our third week in a row. Awesome. And thanks for jumping on. And obviously, if you're catching the recording, thanks for watching that too, because that really helps us and encourages us. And if you're live, feel free to jump in the chat section. You'll see it if you're on the computer at the bottom and you can ask a question. Or if you're on your phone, you sort of got to hit the chat section and then the chat at the again. Anyway, you'll work it out. But if you're not and you're watching the recording, then feel free to jump onto the comment section of this post and then just go for it, right? Your question or your comment or what you got out of it, because the more feedback we get, the better we can serve you and help you to create the outcomes that you want. So tonight we're really excited because our topic is
being judgmental.
Yeah, the 4 hidden costs, in fact, of being judgmental. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to jumping into this one with you tonight, because I think it's something that we all notice that we do on a regular basis. I know I do. And as I've heard many of the gurus say, when you're pointing a finger at somebody else, there's always 3 that are pointing back at you. So it's interesting. It sort of works out that way. So would you like to kick off the first hidden cost of being judgmental?
Yeah, well, I think when you're being judgmental of somebody else, or even it's yourself as well, really, isn't it? But being judgmental, what you're setting up is an expectation, and so you're limiting yourself. You're saying and limiting your choices in life as well, because you're saying, look, these things that I'm recognizing in the other person are not things that are acceptable or whatever. So you're boxing stuff off as good, bad, and right and wrong, and that sort of thing. So you're creating a limited style of living.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a loss of connection. And as human beings, we're all about connection. You know, we're not really designed to be solitary creatures. We're designed to live in a community, be connected. Our whole hormonal system is built around that as well. Yep. So connection is vitally important with others and, of course, with ourselves as well. So, that's a really important thing. Did you have more to say on that?
Oh, just that as you do that, you'll continue to, you sort of start to get into a bit of a rut. You create a pattern for yourself as if there's not already enough patterns that we've created over the years. And it's all unknowingly, it's all happening there. This is part of the massive cost of this simple process of, calling someone out for something you think's wrong about them or whatever. And as you create that rut, the more you do it, the deeper the rut gets. And so you're creating these patterns of limitation, and they start to, being patterns, they become cyclic in your world. So you'll start to notice those sorts of things about people and circumstances that you continuously don't like, and that you judge and collude with other on. Oh, look at this, can you believe it? Can you believe him or her? And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
It costs you.
Well, those ruts, they're in yoga, the philosophy, they talk about samskaras. It's like just running the cart through the same part of the road, and the ruts just get deeper and stronger. It's the same with your neurology. So the more you're reinforcing that, the more it gets stronger. Eventually, you actually start to crave for that feeling because you miss it. You're getting it so regularly that your body then starts to go, oh, hang on, I haven't done that for a while. And then you start to nitpick at whatever you can find. So, and then also, of course, your RAS, your reticular activating system, that part of your brain that's looking for same, it'll start to say, oh, look, I'm going to judge that guy for throwing his cigarette butt out the window. Not that I condone that at all, but, to judge that person. The next thing you see, like half a dozen other people doing similar sort of things. So all of a sudden, everybody's throwing cigarette butts around the place, and you sort of really amplify, and a lot of energy gets wasted just creating that separation from that other person, that loss of connection with them. And of course, as you said, loss of connection with yourself, because you are, not honoring something about yourself that is in there. Like maybe you're not a smoker and you've never thrown a cigarette butt anywhere, but there's probably been occasions somewhere in your life where you've disposed of something inappropriately. That part of yourself, there's a positive to it, and there's a negative to it. We only ever see the negative side to it. So it creates this massive separation with ourselves. And just on that also, when we're creating separation with different people, we talk about putting them in the pit, where, you know, and we make ourselves feel better by putting ourselves on the pedestal. And quite often when we're dealing with another human or even someone we don't even know, we're judging them in whatever way and making an assessment, and we'll either put ourselves up above them in some way, maybe, oh, well, I look better than that person, or I'm younger than that person, or you know, whatever, and putting them in the pit. Or the other way around, you could see someone out and about that you've never met before, don't know anything about them, and, oh, wow, I wish I was as skinny like them. I wish that I was as clever as them. I wish I had a car like theirs, and putting yourself in the pit then. And rather than, everybody's just a human being. It doesn't matter if you're worth $10 billion, you still got, you know, the basic human makeup as far as your body parts go and all that sort of stuff. It's we're all the same, really, aren't we? And our essence is the same. We all come from the same place.
Exactly. And it sounds crazy, but the only time, believe it or not, that you will notice something in somebody else that you disagree with or you don't like is because it's within you. It's a part of you. And when I first heard that, I had to sit and process that for a while, because I'm like, don't know if that's true. I mean, surely to God, I don't. Whatever, you know.
Throw rubbish on the ground.
But you know, it literally, you won't, otherwise you won't even notice that attribute in that person. The only reason you do is because it's a part of you. And now when you judge that as bad or wrong in that person, what you're doing, you don't get to do that and judge them without judging yourself. So in doing that, what you're saying to yourself is, I don't love that aspect of myself. And the problem is, there might be aspects of yourself that you don't wish to express. You know, you choose to express certain other aspects that you want to express in the world, but you still need to embrace every aspect of yourself and come into your wholeness, and that's where your power lies. So as you judge other people and consequently yourself and those aspects that you don't like, you're trying to separate yourself from parts of yourself, and when you do that, you create suffering. So that's one of the many costs involved with that simple act of judging.
Yeah. So that brings us to our second hidden cost, which is it creates expectations of yourself, and sometimes that will actually create a lack of choice, because you'll see someone doing something, or you'll make a comment on something, and like, imagine, let's just say a car, for example, just say, remember back in the days we used to pick on Volvo drivers? You remember that?
I do.
I mean, my parents used to, like, it was just one of those things.
I never did.
It's like, bloody Volvo driver, blah, blah, blah. And so even when we were little, we learned to say bloody Volvo driver. It wasn't even our story. It was our parents' story. Anyway, so, but basically by saying that, you know, some of us have actually then decided to never, ever buy a Volvo. Now, I think the Volvo cars have probably evolved a lot these days. In fact, my dad drives one, and we had a joke about that when he bought it. But it potentially could have stopped him from ever buying a Volvo, because perhaps he thought that all Volvo drivers were idiots. So it's really important that when we're making a judgment, that we are seeing that it's also limiting our choices, and it's limiting our ability to basically stand in our power as we move forward. And we end up replaying old stories over and over. There may be a trauma associated with it or something or other, but really, instead of just being the observer, we're labeling, we're trying to put it into a basket of good or bad. And when we put it into the basket of bad, we basically take it away as an option for us, because it's not something that's available to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, and another cost associated with, sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but judging is also we shift our focus. So as creators, creating the life that we love, what we're doing while we're in that state of judging is that we're taking that powerful creative force of focus that we have, and we're shifting it over into this this structure of judging somebody else, sort of thing. So, you know, the cost there is huge too, because we want that focus is a beautiful, powerful tool that we can use for good, not evil. And so, you know, it's a total waste of your focus, your time, your energy, by sticking it on that sort of activity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when we are in our creative mode, we all know you need to focus on what you love, what you really want to have happen in your life. Now, there's a lot more to that story. And, you know, so we've all heard the law of attraction, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of people just sort of go, it doesn't work. It does work, but there's just a few missing pieces. Maybe we'll even delve into some of that one night. But at this stage, just realize if you're not focusing on what you love, you're getting what you don't love. And so judging actually takes you all the way to the other end of the scale, because you're pointing at what you really don't like, and you're going to end up seeing more of it. You're going to end up experiencing more of it. And you may even find yourself just unconsciously participating in that type of activity yourself, without even realizing where that's come from. So we need to make sure that we're putting our focus and therefore our power back into the processes that we really want to. And we're not wasting energy over there. We're actually constructively using all the energy, the focus that's available to us to get those amazing outcomes in our lives. So it's a really, really important cost-benefit ratio. Just dump the judgment. And we've got one more. What's the other one?
So yeah, the other one is that it also feeds the fear. So as you're judging, there's a lot of unconscious stuff going on there as well. And so it's not just the stuff you're aware of, but it's what's happening underneath the layers. And you're creating a fear within yourself that as you judge those things that you believe you don't like about others, in other words, the things that you don't like within yourself and that you're not embracing and loving, you're also telling yourself that the world is going to judge you in the same way and judge those aspects of you in the same way. So the way you feel toward that other person and their behaviors or whatever it may be, you're also telling yourself that that's how the world it will judge and feel about you as well as you're living in the world. So all of a sudden, or over time, probably more so, it stacks and builds, and you find that you feel, again, usually unconsciously, that the world is a dangerous or unsafe place to be, and just can't work out why you can't feel happy anymore. Something's lost, something's missing. Am I just plain getting old and it's over for me or whatever? These are the sorts of things that add up over time. They're poor practices, and these are the results that you're getting. So we really wanted to kind of bring some awareness, shine some light on the unconscious stuff that goes on with such a simple and addictive behavior.
Yeah. So if you're getting around in the world and your attitude is basically look at something, judge it, look at something, judge it, look at something, judge it, you can only assume that the whole world is doing the exact same thing to you, that you can't actually live from any other point, because then you're incongruent with your own behavior. So, you'll see someone across the street looking at you, all of a sudden, the only conclusion you can come to is, oh, they're judging me. Am I wearing something wrong? Have I got something on my face? Whatever it happens to be. So we actually become less authentic. We become more hidden. We don't want to show our real authentic selves. We don't get to live our greatness, because you cannot be great while you are being inauthentic. So you become more fake and you want to keep up appearances. Then all of a sudden we've got a whole new rabbit hole of problems. We start buying the really nice houses, the really nice cars, blah, blah, blah. And, there's neighborhoods all over the world where it looks really nice. The houses are big, the cars are expensive. But if you talk to the people, they're insanely unhappy, a lot of them, because they don't have the cash flow to even really have the food that they want, or get the healthcare that they want, or go on, they'll go on holidays because that looks good on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it's keeping up the appearance, but they'll get themselves in 20 grand's worth of debt to take the family to wherever, just so that they can have the appearance of what's going on, because they're afraid to be judged. And one of the things that we'll talk to you about in the near future is basically we've all made mistakes. We've all fucked up in life. It's just the way it is. We are human. We're here to learn and grow and expand. And the only way you can do that is by making mistakes. And if we're worried about being judged for that all the time, then we're always going to be on the back foot. We're going to be constantly looking over our shoulder. And what we'll encourage you to do over time is actually start to turn your mess into your message, rather than hiding away from the world. Because if you've experienced something, and we certainly have, both as individuals and as a couple, those messes have actually contributed massively to our growth. And now that we've done the work, we realize that without those experiences, we wouldn't be who we are, and we certainly wouldn't be as close as we are to each other, and we wouldn't be experiencing the world as we do, and just embracing this amazing way of life, which may not look so flash on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but for us it's a brilliant way to live. Well, I think it is anyway. What do you reckon?
Very free. Very free.
Very free, absolutely. And we don't ever have to be in collusion with anybody, not even with each other. You know, I'll call out his bullshit, he definitely calls out mine, because we know that there is no harm in exploring those options of, hey, what's going on here? Where, you know, what's that judgment thing about? And yeah, we're judging each other for judging. It comes up, but the power is in the recognition of where things aren't quite working and then turning it around. That's where your power lies. Mm-hmm. So basically, just to sum up, our 4 hidden costs of being judgmental. Do you want to?
Yeah, but just before we do, you mentioned the word collusion.
Oh yes.
And this
so
might
did
not
you
be.
Earlier.
I did. Yeah. And we haven't, you know, you might already be familiar with what that's all about, but just in case you're not, I think it's a powerful distinction. Is that collusion is when you know, you sort of getting into the activity of judging or whatever, you might incorporate other people into that process as well. So this is when you're colluding with somebody else.
Like gossiping and that sort of stuff?
It's gossiping, but you're trying
jumping on the Facebook train, or... Yeah,
you're trying to enroll them in your way of thinking, in your messed up way of thinking. And if they may collude with you for various reasons. They may not want to disagree with you.
They may just want to feel like they belong, or they know they're still loved by you, or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. But there's a cost to that too. Say it's a family member or a close family member or a close friend who you're putting through the ringer of collusion. There's a cost to your friendship as well and to your relationship. And the cost is that if they're agreeing with you, there's a part inside you that's saying, I can't trust this person.
Oh, or actually the other way around. They're thinking, hey, this guy's come up to me and talking about this person, like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I wonder what he says about me behind my back.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely goes both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, you know, you without knowing it, you're, I wouldn't say destroying, I don't know, but to some degree, it's got a negative impact on the relationship that you've got with that person. So if you've got somebody in your life that you care about, you don't want to collude with them with your rubbish. You know, you want to tidy that stuff up and get on with the sort of thing, but don't pull them into you.
And the tricky thing is with it, because you're actually making connection with those people, you're actually releasing dopamine and oxytocin, and those things actually make you feel good while you're gossiping and colluding and all that sort of thing. So you're effectively potentially destroying a relationship, but at the same time, both of you are feeling absolutely fantastic about it. So it's a pretty tricky arrangement when that's going on. So it's worth being very conscious so that we're not bringing that into any of the relationships, particularly the ones you really care about, the friendships and the family and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, eventually you want to be able to not do that in any scenario, but certainly with the people you care about the most, the best place to start going with those
just
ones.
Being aware.
Yeah,
aware that it costs you.
Absolutely. So look, just to summarize, and we got 5 hidden costs of being judgmental. You got a bonus one at the end. So the first one is loss of connection, and that's loss of connection with the other person, whether you know them or not, doesn't really matter because we are all connected, and loss of connection with yourself. The second thing is that you lose your focus and your power from what you love. You're actually giving it away to what you don't love. The third one is you're going to, by judging other people, you create expectations on yourself, which then leads to a lack of choice and more limitations upon you. And it's done unconsciously. So it's not like you're consciously creating a new discipline or a ritual that will build your life. It's just something that's unconsciously now placed in your psyche that you have limited yourself with. Number 4, it feeds the fear. If you're judging others, then you're also afraid that others are judging you. So that's also going to hold you back in a big way. And our bonus one, courtesy of Craig tonight, which was Collusion. Yeah. So don't collude. You destroy the relationships from the inside out, and you feel amazing while you do it. So yeah, awesome. I think that was a really good one tonight. I can't see any questions in the chat box at this stage. Nope, that's cool, but fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you think of a question later, if you've got some feedback, make sure you put it in the comments below and we'll get back to you when we can. Also, this group is open to anyone. You don't need to be coming to any of our retreats or events or anything like that, because we want our message to get out across the globe as much as possible. So if you know of anyone that you care about that's a bit stuck, feeling a bit down, wants a different perspective in life, feel free to add them to the group, our Unstuck and Unstoppable community group. We do have a secret group for our attendees, which we launch when we do the event. So that's so that we can continue the depth of the coaching that we need to after the retreat, to make sure that you're actually getting home and then getting the implementation of the tools that we'll be teaching you throughout the retreat, which is really important, because I mean, we've all been to seminars where you come away, you're feeling amazing, oh, that was so good, and then you get home and after a week you've forgotten all the stuff. There'll be a few things that stick in there, but really you're not doing the do, and therefore you lose the momentum with it. So not only do we want the power of the immersion, being with us for 3 days, 3 nights, and having an absolute, it was actually over 4 days, but you get it, and totally immersed in the whole process, learning from A to Z how to get it done. And then going home, you go back into your environment. We don't want you to lose that connection with the work. It has to be able to integrate. Otherwise, you know, you've wasted your time, your energy, your effort, your focus, your money, and we really don't want to see anybody do that. We want you to go away and have tools that, so 10 years down the track, you'll look back and you'll go, man, that was the best event I ever attended, because it got me going on the path, on the right direction to creating the life I really wanted. And I don't want that to sound like a cliche, because every second person is out there saying that. But truly, you know, the amount of work we've done over the years, it's taken us a long time, a lot of effort and a lot of money to find exactly what it is that that works for us, and a variety of things, because Craig's brain works different to my brain. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it doesn't matter. We want to make sure we've got you with enough tools and things that will work for you when you get home, that, you know, you can definitely see that's going to be something you can continue sustainably throughout life and build upon. Like, go and find out some of our mentors and see what works for you, and explore from there. And, you know, we'll be growing with you as well, so that'll be amazing. So really looking forward to that. And we've still got spaces at the retreat. If you want to come along, I seriously recommend put everything on hold for 3 days, 3 nights, and come and join us on the Gold Coast. I promise you it will be life-changing. Absolutely. If not just for hanging out in the trees, but I promise it's far more than that. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes,
before we
it's
go?
a lot more than hanging out in the trees. No, not really. I think that's all for tonight. And, you know, thanks for tuning in again. And we'll look forward to...
great to see those smiling faces.
Yes. And we'll look forward to tuning in again next week. Yep,
next week, Thursday night. Also, let us know if 7 o'clock's working for you, because, you know, for some people it's dinner time. They're still getting home from their practice, because I've got a lot of chiro friends and that sort of thing. So just let me know if there's a more convenient time, and especially now that all the Eastern Seaboard's on the same time zone, let's work it together. Have a fantastic week. I look forward to seeing you again next week, and give us some feedback. Chat with you soon. See you later.
Bye, guys.